All right. Welcome back everyone dito sa latest episode ng Deep Dive. Medyo on the ano na kami, mga final ano na kami pareho. It was a long week, an amazing week, wonderful week. Kasama po natin si Cleve. Nasira po natin yung kanyang social life. Siya na nga lang may social life sa amin lahat. Ano, inano pa namin. Thank you so much, Prof. Cleve Arguelles, President or CEO ng WR Numero.
Both,
Ay,
President and
aba, aba.
CEO.
Aba, parang yun naman gusto ng mga DDS eh.
Then,
President, Prime Minister, lahat na lang na position. The most,
President for life.
ayan, Emeritus Professor, Mentor Minister, para medyo Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore. Thank you so much, Cleve, for sharing your time. So, obviously, we're gonna talk about yung latest survey niyo. We had great folks. Of course, shout out to Attorney Dino De Leon, kahit medyo last minute talaga, literally, last minute. At shout out, of course, sa ating former colleague, si Dean Tihanki, who were with you guys during your fantastic briefing. But for the sake of some people who didn't catch that amazing briefing, and also to put it within the bigger context, I thought pag-usapan natin dito. But before that, obviously, anniversary today nung the murder, the extrajudicial killing of Kian de los Santos. Um, and I think that was really a kind of a inflection point for a lot of people. I know Pinoys who literally left the country after that when they saw, the lack of outrage or lack of moral outrage at that, and they felt Digong was able to just bury the whole thing by showing false sympathy and all. So it's a moment that I think many people remember for all the wrong reasons, but also it's also one of the very few, if not the only case where I think na nagkaroon ng accountability to a certain degree. At least may nakasuhan kahit papaano. So because of
And
that, I
public
felt
opinion din. Diyan
absolutely.
bumaba Diyan nag-decline ng public opinion with Digong.
And Digong had to suspend even the PNP operations to Kang. I mean, so obviously there was a public pressure. But nevertheless, I mean, it just showed how brazen and budul the whole drug war was. Kumbaga, kota-kota lang, diba? So that was how. In light of that, in light of the fact that happened, we also had Attorney Christina Conti with us to talk about the pretrial chamber next month. So a month from now, September 23, mukhang tuloy na yan. And it's going to be a multi-day affair, most likely. Weirdly, few days before September 21 will be, of course, the martial law anniversary, and we're expecting the DDS to suddenly be anti-Marcos and to be on our side. So basically, we'll be on one side of EDSA, and then the next day, lilipat naman tayo sa kabilang EDSA. It's gonna be an interesting month or two ahead of us. So maybe, Cleve, can we start with some of your relevant surveys and data to understand what is the state of public opinion on the ICC on this issue of drug war? Para lang makita natin kung nagkaroon ba ng namulat ba ang ating mga kababayan, or I think there's still denial. Because you remember we had a conversation with a Latin American friend of ours not long ago somewhere about how they had to come to grips with their own desaparecidos, really tragedy and horrors. But in the Philippines, I think we're still going through the motion. So, Cleve, may we go ahead, please? That's the predicate. So go ahead.
Yes. You're right, Richard. And we continue to remember with um, anger and disappointment kay Ian De Los Santos, not the only and not the last child, no, to have been a victim of the war on drugs of the Duterte administration. So let me just share here yung mga survey results namin on what people think about the war on drugs. No, we have several. I hope you're seeing it now. No, we have several questions here. Um, Starting with the point that because we're talking about transitional justice, we're talking about accountability. This is an April 2025 survey, and you see here 75% of Filipinos say that no one should be above law, including ex-presidents. No? I wanted to start with this to make clear that for Filipinos, based on principle, walang mas mataas dapat sa batas, kahit pa dating Pangulo. And of course, we're reminded of Rodrigo Duterte, right? And you see a very low disagreement here, 9%, no? And unsure at 16%. If you even go further and ask Filipinos in the same nationwide non-commissioned survey in April 2025, we've asked them, no? Um, nakabuti ba o nakasama? Nakabuti man o nakasama, no? So regardless of the legacy of President Rodrigo Duterte, do you agree that he should be made accountable for the killings, no? During the war on drugs and other human rights violations. 54% of Filipinos, a majority of Filipinos agree that he should be made accountable regardless of his presidential legacy. So wala na, isang tabi na natin yon, di ba? Sabi mo nga kanina, medyo weird yung September kasi magkabilang side ng EDSA, no, lilipat-lipat. Pero tayo, we stay on the same side, right? And that's on the side of the rule of law, of human rights, of the right to life, no? And here, kahit ano pang side mo, even if you think nakabuti, pero yan ay we are disputing that, taken for granted, let's take it for granted na nakabuti ang panunungkulan ni Rodrigo Duterte, you still agree 54% na dapat maging accountable sa killings, no? And the other one is that hindi din mahalaga para sa mga kababayan natin kung ano man yung naging policy intentions ng war on drugs. One of the excuses, no, that we hear from the supporters of the Dutertes, no, uh, troll man or genuine, no, ay maganda naman daw kasi ang intention ng war on drugs. Mali lang daw ang implementation at iba pang mga excuses. Here, Filipinos are saying with 55% agreement that it's not about the intention, no? The intention may have been good, it may have been bad, but the former president must be made accountable for drug war killings, no? Regardless. And kaya, diretso ko na Richard na I will look for our for the impeachment, no? Ayan, no? Here. Um, you tie it well with the views on the ICC arrest investigation and the ICC trial that uh, kung may ganong klasing demand for accountability and justice in the atrocities committed in the war on drugs, it's the same amount of Filipinos, no? Majority, above 50%, no? So between 5 to 6 out of every 10 Filipinos, no? Medyo same yan. So this is a March 2024 survey, no? Bago pa to na um, ipadala sa Hague, no, si PRRD. And you see here that majority of Filipinos approve the ICC investigation of the war on drugs. 59%, no? Mataas din, no? Sizable, significant ito. And if you see it by region, you'll see that of course, the most disagreement is with Mindanao, but the rest of the country are quite convinced that the ICC investigation must go on, no? Whether in Metro Manila, yun yung agree dyan, yung blue bars eh. North Central Luzon, South Luzon, Visayas, you see a majority. In fact, what's interesting here is that even in Mindanao, di ba? Um, you have 47%. Diba? So Mindanao is not parang sometimes we imagine it's a Duterte country na lahat yan ay okay lang sa war on drugs, no? Hindi po. 47% dyan, no, nagsasabi sila din gusto nila yung ICC investigation on the war on drugs, no? So short of a majority but definitely very far from what is being painted as Mindanao is very supportive of the
But I mean, it could be. I mean, we can talk about also the impeachment later. I mean, it could be also like, okay, go ahead, investigate and show how innocent and amazing our champion is, right? I mean, you could also play it that way, right? Now, being pro trial doesn't necessarily mean, or pro investigation doesn't necessarily mean that you think Duterte is guilty. Although I don't know, of course, you have the fine print and all of that, but I'm just saying in theory, right? You can argue it along those ways. Is there also a sub-regional breakdown, like certain parts of Mindanao? Are there parts of Mindanao that are actually more amenable to the ICC investigation versus other places?
right.
Do you have a
Not
sub-regional breakdown?
not in this presentation, Richard, no. I have to check that yung per region talaga, no. But I would suspect given na medyo ilang beses na namin nirarun yung ganitong survey questions that the Davao region will definitely be different from the other parts of Mindanao. And it may actually be the case that the disagreement na nagpapataas sa Mindanao is just very concentrated in the Davao area. It could be the case, no? I highly
It can
suspect that's
skew
the case.
the overall regional numbers, right?
Yeah. And you're right, maaaring kagaya nung kay sa impeachment trial ni VP Sara, 'di ba, na majority of Filipinos agree that it should happen, no? Baka ganun nga din na regardless kasi if you believe that they're innocent or guilty, you want to see them, no? Face the charges, no? Um, So maaaring kaya mataas talaga dito yung ano din, yung agreement, no, kahit sa Mindanao. Pero ang mahalaga dito para sa ating mga kababayan, ito ano na to, April 2025 na to, follow up na to, no, kasi yung kanina March 2024 ay the ICC investigation is a very important means for us to uncover the truth in the drug war, no? Nag-agree dyan ng mga Pilipino, no, 61%. Kaya I'm happy to hear that, you had this conversation with Chrissy Conti and na may mga movements, may developments sa investigation. And Filipinos do support that consistently with different questions that we've asked that they support the ICC investigation. They see it as a important way for us to uncover the truth in the drug war. And most importantly, they trust the ICC to be free and fair and to conduct a free and fair trial for PRRD. That's 66%. Nakita mo medyo mataas na to dun sa mga previous numbers, no? So there's a lot of confidence in the ICC kaya itong mga maybe you can talk about this, diba? Mga movement ng kanyang lawyer, yung isa
Well, the
nagpipigil
Kaufman has an 11% approval rating. Trying to
tsaka yung
disqualify the judges, then prosecutor, lahat na lang.
ano yung isa yung nagpapanggap na lawyer
Uh,
ni
well,
Duterte, hindi naman.
bring home the ano humba huba. Ayan tayo eh. That's my problem.
Ito
I
ba?
don't
Ito
know
ba? Ito ba? Ito ba?
where to put Harry in that survey. I mean, I can see Kaufman has 11% on his side, but parang where is Harry?
Well, the last time we asked about Ali Roque, April 2025, 67% of Filipinos are saying he must return to the Philippines to face
Oh wow,
investigation.
he has a high awareness pala, no? At least, well, at least he's relevant. I'll give that to him. Wow,
Diba?
67.
Eh mukha
So,
din namang pati ang pamilya ata eh. Mukhang ang pati pamilya Duterte, they want him home
yeah,
eh.
pauwi na. Bring home the ano.
Yes, but not to
Pulpante,
make not
pulpante.
to I think I'll end in this may isa na not to make light of our situation, and of course, we commemorate the killing of Kian de los Santos, and we are also reminded that this is a long battle, 'di ba? And isa sa mga kinakaharap nating challenge is also the arrest of co-perpetrators. This was not just Duterte, but there were also co-perpetrators. And I think this is the last number I will share in our nationwide survey as well. In April 2025, 61% of Filipinos say that they find it important na yung mga co-perpetrators o kasabwat sa krimen ay maaresto din at iharap sa ICC kagaya ni Pangulong Duterte. So I think I'll stop here and we can start discussing what do you think about these numbers? How do you make sense of it?
Yeah. No, no, no. I mean, sorry. We all just learned the new word humba. I had no idea about the humba, so we had to research it, kanina. I really hope people forgive us if sometimes we come off in the wrong way, but I hope people realize, using dark humor to expose the inanities, yung sobrang walang vacuous logic. I mean, I'm using English terms para hindi maging bas. I mean, talaga walang kakwenta-kwenta mga argumento, mga excuses, mga rationalization, apologia. I think that's really one way of resisting this. Kasi, minsan, it's just so nonsensical yung mga palusot ng mga ibang kaibigan natin dyan. And I think, what's happening to Harry Roque, in a way, di ba? Hindi lang karma yan eh. Like, it just shows how preposterous is the situation na, di ba? Even Harry Roque now is basically homeless. Like, he doesn't know what to do, di ba? Na, it just tells you the gallery of rogues who have been trying to cover up for what many see as a disastrous, catastrophic policy by the former president. So I hope people realize now, when we are not trying to make light of the very reason that we keep on talking about these issues, because we feel these are important issues, but you need to use sometimes dark humor as a weapon of resistance at saka as a weapon of also expose, di ba? In-expose natin talagang walang kakwenta-kwenta yung argument nila. Because hindi naman itong issue ng IQ, sinong matalino, saan ka nag-graduate, yun ang ayoko dun sa minsan lumalabas na parang ginagawang issue ng sino matalino, hindi. Hindi, ang issue lang dito, merong bang basihan, may fondasyon ba yung mga argumento at excuses ng mga isang company yan? Wala talaga, di ba? Just like their petition against us na pinagtawanan na lang namin ng mga na-chat GPT. But anyway, Clive, going back to this, no, the reason I'm asking is, we always talk about dissonance in surveys, right? And we also talk about interrogating the numbers in surveys. So, what are the potential or somehow semi dissonances you have seen, and what are the somehow consistencies you have seen? Not only across different data points, but also between what would be a qualitative analysis of the situation and the quantitative capture of that by your surveys. Because anyway, dissonance is a reality, but it looks like it's not all the time. That over time, perhaps there's some certain things are clearing out.
Yeah, I think kapag you swim behind the aggregate numbers, no, and try to look at the breakdown, doon mo makikita yung mga iba't ibang types of dissonances, no, at siguro ano na din biases, no, ng mga kababayan natin, no. So I think one of the most important thing to remember, of course, is that uh, yung factional politics, yung personalistic factional politics really plays a big role in public opinion, kung agree ba sila or disagree. So kapag tinignan mo yung numbers ng how about Duterte supporters, no? Those who say na supporters sila ni Duterte, do they also find it important na makuha ang justice sa mga pagpatay sa panahon ng war on drugs? Do they, sorry, do they also agree that even ex-presidents should not be above the law? And you see na, well, more or less, mas kinakampihan nila yung mga Duterte, no? So I think yun yung isa na napaka-factional based nito na um, sabi natin, no, sa mga nag-aaral ng political science, no, ay conditional, no, yung support nila sa mga principles, conditional yung support nila sa justice, sa accountability, as long as hindi nito tatamaan yung kanilang sinusuportahan na political personality, no, which is of course a very problematic position, no, by ng ating mga kababayan. But that's one of the biggest dissonances, no. Pag tinanong mo yan, dapat bang ikulong ang isang lumabag sa batas o pumatay, baka near 100%, no? But if you put that in a context of the Dutertes, na okay, paano kung si Duterte yan, napatunayan na may pinatay, nagpapatay, medyo bababa yung agreement. So may ganong dissonance, no?
I want to go to Sarah, and I know you're also under the weather, Parasite. But before I go to the Sarah numbers and approvals in light of the situation, I don't know. Alam ko may na-archive sa Sonar, sorry, may na-archive sa Senate recently after a certain joint session, but we can, we can, ayan na naman yung archiving eh. We kind of talk about sino man pwede ma-archive din sa ICC, pinag-usapan namin kahapon yan. But let me hindi naman digress, but let me focus on this issue, no? Adjusting aperture natin. Let's talk about identity politics. To what degree? I mean, the some talk about culto, basically, right? People are forwarding me videos of people praying for a cardboard. We already saw a cardboard winning what 80-90% of the votes in a certain major city, right? Already see this cardboard popping up in different parts of Europe and all around the world. So some would say kulto lang yan, right? But ako naman, I want to be more qualitatively elegant about this. So I would say, okay, identity politics. Have you reached a point whereby a significant number of ating mga kababayan, they see their identity tied to the Duterte dynasty, basically? Right? And I want to go beyond regionalism and tribalism because regionalism is something familiar to us, especially to some of us who come from northern Philippines, right? The solid north, the Marcos loyalty, and all of those things. Although personally, I was never a Marcos supporter, but are we seeing this kind of identity politics along? So kumbaga, yung identity politics sa Pilipinas ay nag-fuse with political dynasty and regionalism, right? It kind of had weird mutation, right? Na siguro medyo hindi naman unprecedented, but I would say with few parallels in the world in both gravity and also in terms of in both intensity and also in terms of endurance.
Yeah, good question, no? And actually, I'm writing, I'm co-authoring a book with a colleague from the National University of Singapore, si Dean Dulay, no, also a political scientist, precisely on this question, no. Um, and one of the major arguments that we want to put forward is that the character of political factions in the Philippines and also consequently the identity of the voters is a mix between, as you've said, no, yung personalistic dynastic na affiliation, no, na nag-resonate sa kanila, but also we cannot really divorce it from ethno-linguistic na ties, no. So talagang mutually ano sila eh, nagmi-meet sila tapos they mutually reinforce each other, no. Kaya so I think magandang tignan halimbawa sa ito ano naman galing na to sa aming latest na survey, August 2025. Let me just show you, no? Yung size ng mga number ng mga Pilipino na nagsasabi kung sila ba ay Maka
Relation, no?
Duterte,
Yeah.
Maka Marcos, Maka Opposition, o none of the above. And una, key takeaway, mga easy takeaways dito ay more or less yung pinakamalaking faction ay yung Duterte's na 30%. Pero important to note that they have also we have also seen the biggest na decline, no, sa Duterte faction, 12
Just to be
percentage
clear,
points. So it's
this is
very
an elastic factional alignment, right? I mean, some
yes.
would argue this is at the more upper end, perhaps, of the alignment of, let's say, the Duterte side. Because at least in the Okta survey, I know they have probably, I mean, it's a similar idea, but maybe different.
uh,
But it went down to 15, 16, 7% at some point. So my hunch is we're looking at somewhere between 15 to 35% that can solidify
yes, and
behind the Duterte
definitely
side. Yun nga,
it's
just to be
kung
clear, hindi ito
nagbabasa ka ng
monolithic, hindi ito parang ano, frozen in time.
right, right. And very important also to note na pag nagbabasa tayo ng iba't ibang survey, lalo na iba't ibang grupo, what's the more important thing to look at is the trend, right? So if it's declining in Okta, if it's declining in WR numero, then we see that there's a decline in the number of Filipinos saying na maka-Duterte ako, right? Um, but what I want to note as well is that yung decline na to, very important to note kasi for the longest time, if you try to track also the Duterte support, lalo na nung hindi pa nag-unite yung Marcos and Duterte nung 2022 election, they hover between 20 to 25%. That's more or less the Duterte, Duterte base, no? And a lot of that, no, a lot of that is from Mindanao, no? Um, parang sa last na count namin, mga 7 out of 10 of that actually is from Mindanao. So yun yung sinasabi ko na yes, merong affinity sa dynasty, but it's also cannot be divorced from the ethno-linguistic story, no? In fact, um, kapag ka ni-remove mo sa equation, halimbawa, in theory lang yung Mindanao voters, iwanan mo yung lahat, ibang-iba yung itsura nitong itong map na ito, no? So yeah, and then you see the Marcoses 19% na concentrated sa Luzon, no? Particularly North Luzon yung kanilang support. And then the opposition concentrated in Metro Manila and the Bicol region as well as some parts of Visayas, no? Especially the non-Cebu speaking parts of the Visayas and the none of the above, no? Which is very important, 4 in 10. Ito yung, and this is concentrated mostly in the Lingayen-Lucena corridor, no? So Central Luzon, Metro Manila, which makes a lot of sense kasi ito yung market voters natin, no? They are very sensitive to narratives, to campaigns, to what's being talked about, kung anong sinasabi ni Richard A. Darian sa vlogs niya, no? They listen to it, no, to make sense of the political landscape, no? So yun, this is the parang the landscape so far, and it could be
So sorry, so negative 12 decline sa Duterte partisanship. So
yes,
basically, are we saying that this is
we're
the
getting
Duterte bump?
smaller.
And na, my point, this is the Duterte bump, I suppose, because April comes just weeks after the ICC arrest, just to connect to our discussion. So the Duterte bump was really big. It's the probably 50-20% gave them. And then you have a 4% increase in the non-affiliated. That's interesting. So there's a 4% increase. People are saying like, ewan ko na, bahala kayo dyan, diba? Like, I'm just gonna sit this out. There's a 3% increase in the pink alignment, basically supporters of anyone, Lenny, Bam, Kiko, etc. Mamaya pag-usapan natin how if they can unify. But the loyalista base is around one-fifth of the population, but the plus 4-point increase. Baka naman dito rin medyo, I don't know, maybe BBM is probably doing something right, maybe after all, after the election and admitting na nakamali sila, marami silang kakulangan. Although the only statistically significant one I can see is really the decline in the Duterte side, and I can surmise na yun yung Duterte bump basically receding. So I won't be surprised bakit there's now an interest not only in Humba but also interest in creating all this drama around Digong, which kind of went wrong, di ba? All this fake news na kawawa na si Digong, etc. Like I think there are people who are desperate to bring back that bump, no? That Duterte sympathy rallying effect, and obviously they're I think still not unified on the messaging on that. Kaya it's all over the place. You hear
Yeah.
different things from the House of Zimmerman, House of Hanilet, different thing from different sides of this debate and equation. Sara Duterte also clarifying the father is all fine and nothing is wrong. But I'm just telling people now, like it makes sense. This numbers perfectly make sense to me. And again, thank you guys for doing this. Kasi yun yung wala sa mga tradition. I don't want to use the word traditional. Let's just say yung mga OG ng survey agencies. I'm really surprised why they didn't do it. It took Okta and then you guys to do more of this because you know halaga eh. This is what gives us an idea about how to move forward and or whether we have moved forward at all. Yeah, please.
Yeah, and you're right, no? And kaya nga ako naman ang na-imagine ko ay that's why also the Duterte camp, they were so desperate to stop the parang they were throwing everything to the impeachment just to make it stop, no? Because for sure they're also seeing that their numbers are going down. Um, that it's only a matter of time kung magtuloy-tuloy yung impeachment trial, that the size of the number of Filipinos saying that they identify as supporters of the Dutertes will just consistently decline. I mean, aside from the ICC, yun yung laman ng balita during the time that this was between April to August 2025, 'di ba? Yan yung kainitan din ng tungkol sa impeachment. So I could imagine na they're also seeing these numbers, and the more that it drags on, the more that their numbers are going down. And the beneficiary of course are the other camps, but also yung mga mas independently minded na mga botante.
We talk about Sarah's number. So what you're saying is that she's not off the hook, right? She had a statistically significant also decline in numbers. So we can see also an alignment consistency between decline numbers of Duterte partisanship, pro Duterte, and also Sara's number, right? So
Yeah.
they may have scored certain tactical victories or not scored tactical, or like they were lucky that there were certain tactical developments, let's say, but nevertheless, right? There's a significant decrease in numbers of Sarah's favorability, which tells you she's not out of the woods yet.
Yes, and kahit yung dun sa kahit sa performance satisfaction niya, let me just pull it up. There's also a slight decline. Medyo mas mababa yung decline, no? Yeah, here from 50 to 47%, no? Nung April to August, no? Um, so nag-decline din yan yung kanyang satisfaction, no? Pero if you tie it also dun sa yung sa decrease ng Duterte faction, itong performance assessment niya, and yung isang question na relevant would be that yung 2028 question, yung sa list of presidents, no? Of course, Sara is still the top, no? But her numbers also decline. And in fact, siya yung isa sa mga pinakamalaking nag-decline, no? Let me just find that, ha?
Can I ask again? Satisfaction with what? With the number of traveled, her mileage, her vlogs, her No, honestly, like I'm wondering, like what are
Ano, hindi, ano na, I think the vice president is promoting the digital nomad
yeah,
lifestyle.
eh. Like ano, anong So pwede na rin tayo ma-survey na satisfaction rating kasi ano rin naman tayo, digital nomad na rin tayo. Baka pwede
Digital
natin,
nomad visa, add
oo,
more.
exactly. I mean, I wonder, yun nga, ano bang trabaho niya actually as a vice president? I really wonder since she resigned and I'm still wondering what is she really doing. But anyway, let's talk about this. This is very important because you basically see the two dark horses, Bam and Bongo, now popping up in the numbers, right? So that was expected after their stellar performance. I mean, if siguro kung si Bato's neck was not on the line in the ICC issue, probably would have popped up there too because his number was very close to Bam. But whatever. I mean, um, no, but seriously, Bongo and Bam popping up there makes perfect sense considering the kind of momentum they're building. And also, both of them are kind of running this from the center, right? I mean, to
Right.
be honest, it's not like Bam and Bongo made like radically different policy positions during elections. And let's be honest, since elections, it's not like Bongo has been guns blazing pro Sara or pro Duterte in the same way.
Yeah.
Bam
Yeah.
has also been very cautious. I mean, he also joined the majority. I see him teaming up with all sorts of different kind of mga kung sino-sino mga vlogger dyan. Now, obviously, they're fighting for the center, right? That
Right.
30+% plus their own base, diba? So, let's talk about it. Bongo at almost 7%. That's incredible. That's really high number. He's almost tied with, he's close to Tulfo. I mean, that's crazy.
Yes. So, yeah, so you see here, syempre, nangunguna pa din si VP Sara, but a very, very significant. If you look at all the names here that we've listed, siya talaga yung may clear na decline, no, in percentage point 7. That's way above the margin of error. And if you combine it with the other findings from other questions, it's clear that medyo tinamaan talaga siya. Either nawala na yung Duterte bomb, 'di ba? No, because of the ICC and all of their drama, but also because of the impeachment, no? Baka nga kaya talaga gigil na gigil sila to stop it because they know they're bleeding, no, when it's ongoing, no. And then you have
How dare you, Cleve? Sabi nga niya, bloodbath. She's even saying, let's have bloodbath 2.0 next year. I mean, I never doubted Sara Duterte's willingness.
parang ano
My
eh.
doubt was somewhere else with some of our very impartial senators, right? Who are lecturing us. Ano ba trabaho daw ng political analyst ulit, Cliff? Sabi nung magaling ko lang na item. Parang gusto ko siya, ano bang trabaho ng isang senator judge ulit? Parang, aha, aha. But, di ba, Cliff, I think hindi updated ang kaibigan natin, hindi kasing intellectual. I'm a public intellectual. I mean, I'm French. I'm very Parisian, di ba? In that sense. Di nila na-gets eh. May Camus, Sartre, Franz Fanon vibe. Parang hindi niya pa na-gets, no?
Oh, at saka you know, uh it's ano to
Sige lang.
naisip ko lang eh na I stopped listening to
You're the president and the CEO. You have to be very careful.
No, I've stopped listening to many of the senators, no? For now, lalo na ngayon, parang used to, it used to be an institution where you listen to their opinions and perspectives because you might be persuaded that they're actually right, no? Ngayon, it's just really parang online trolling lang din ang dating ng iba nating mga
Yeah.
senadores.
I
Sobra.
watch online so that I get confirmed na I was right about how wrong they were to be there. I mean, for instance, yung isa, mukhang hindi niya alam na meron yatang criminal liability mga juveniles, di ba? At last time I check, I think two presidents na nagpardon sa kanya. So talagang iba talagang ano na to at may joint session pa yata yung ating mga talagang kataas-taasan na no. So iba talaga, iba talaga. So actually I watch it for entertainment and also confirmation bias. Like, yeah, I think I was really right, di ba? Pero magpasalamat ako dun sa isang senador dahil sa kanya, ang daming artistang natatalo. I think the artista brand has been damaged for quite some time. By the way, good morning kay Ben Tulfo. I think meron pa siyang say na hindi ba niya Si Ben Tulfo may pinaringgan na dapat di siya number 13 eh. But I won't go there. Baka may magalit na naman, mahirap na. But may kinalaman ito doon sa sobrang maling analysis ni Ronald Llamas na hindi manalo si Amy. So, I'm just saying, ayan, marami na ako natamaan in one sentence. Sige, let's go back to this. So, Sarah is still very high, 30%, which is more or less the number she also had heading into 2022 elections, right? Uh, Lenny's holding almost exactly at the same numbers we have seen between 10 to 15%. Rafi Tulfo is really low in yours. I mean, I saw him
Yes.
back 2025, even 30, some would say 10% lang siya dito, and he's not too far away from, wait, Aimee and Bongo. I mean, like, this is interesting.
Yeah, and in fact, no, tama ka about kay Sen Rafi Tulfo, no. I've compared notes with Ranjit with Okta, and yun nga, no, it's showing na I think ito yung medyo outlier sa aming dalawa, no, yung kay Rafi. I think the Rafi is a lot higher in the Okta survey. Sa amin naman medyo a lot lower. So maybe we're capturing the lower limit of the support for Rafi Tulfo, no? And then sila upper, so it's between there, no? So sa kanilang numbers, almost close to VP Sara, no? Yung kanyang preference numbers, no? And then yun nga, what's interesting here is that you have some of the Duterte aligned pa din, no? Aside from Sara. So you have Senator Bongo, Senator Amy, di ba? And sizable din yan, yung mga numbers na yan. And kung halimbawa, the trend for Senator Bongo na pataas, sabi mo may momentum, no? That continues, no? Uh, I wouldn't be surprised kung nagbe-benefit siya from the decline of Sara, no? To inherit the Duterte faction, no? And then, you have also sa opposition naman, medyo may mga names din dyan na hati-hati. So aside from VP Lenny, you have Sen Bam, Sen Risa, no? Si Chisba, where do we put the SP?
Wait lang, tumakas ang kilay ko. Wait lang. Biglang tumita.
Uh,
So I
uh,
can officially also call him Mr. 1%, no? Uh, but you
yeah,
don't want to go there. Yeah, it's like,
so yun. Yeah. Ito, and there's a lot that can still happen, of course, no, between now and the 2028, no. But these are the numbers for now, no.
okay, so let's go to the
Global,
analysis part. Yeah, yeah. Let's go. Yeah, yeah, please show. Yeah, yeah, the rest. Yeah. Sorry.
so here
Hmm.
the the um the challenge here is that from the pro Duterte, you actually see that, and ito, I've also did this analysis uh, for the Senate votes ng 2025, nitong May 2025. And etong preference sa election, no, ay very, very aligned to dun sa mga previous observations, no. So yung mga pro Marcos, halimbawa, they can vote for, of course, they prioritize who they think is aligned most with the Marcoses, no? So you have Rafi Tulfo, Amy Marcos, no? But kapag may ilan silang mga voters na kayang tumawid sa mga Duterte. So you see Sara Duterte and Bongo as well, right? 11 and 10%. The pro Duterte is the most the faction that's most solid, and also the most kind of like cohesive. So you see, pag pro Duterte ka, 72%, Sara Duterte ka na. And then the next is Bongo. And then lower numbers na for other candidates. Hindi usually madali makatawid sa Duterte camp. For the opposition,
Yan ang hindi ko mag-gets. How is Sara
yes,
Duterte number two?
yes. What's alarming is that
What
uh,
is that? What?
you have a core na parang sa Pro Duterte din, so 52% Lenny core, no? Pero the opposition voters are also voting for some na identified with the Duterte. So meron kasing mga opposition ni Marcos pero hindi opposition ni Duterte. Merong opposition ng mga Duterte pero hindi ni Marcos. So may mix, may noise in the opposition camp, na nakikita namin dun sa survey. And then you have Rafi Tulfo and Bam Aquino. And then for the independents, you see medyo nami-mirror niya yung national level estimates, no? So yun. So actually pag tinignan mo din yung boto nung May, no, a regular opposition voter might vote for will definitely vote for Kiko Bam, but might also vote for um Erwin Tulfo, and other Marcos aligned candidates, and some of them even Bongo. Yan. So sa medyo sa may Bongo pa sila. The pro Duterte, always just Duterte. The Marcoses can vote for the Marcos aligned candidates first. Second, will also vote for some of the pro Duterte candidates, and then last, Kiko Bam as well. So one of the things I think na kailangan din nating i-clarify sa Philippine politics, and you know this very well, Richard, is that um, it's a ano ba it's a lot less disciplined in terms of choices, no, according to partisanship,
I
diba?
think there should be a stronger word than dissonance.
Ano?
Pro Marcos, Amy is not their number one choice, almost basically tied with Tulfo. So Amy Marcos as the admin candidate. I mean, it's like, oh my god, this is gonna be very interesting. If I'm Amy, I look at it like, wow, this is interesting. Like, I can be my brother's candidate, and then at the same time, I be Sarah's candidate, and that's so this one actually is not a very good news for the opposition if you look at this, right? It looks like Tulfo has the greatest chance of mobilizing kumbaga kurut-kurut from all sides to make it competitive if it goes down to Sara. I see a harder
Yeah, yeah.
option for Lenny, to be honest, and for harder for
Para
Tucker. Yun nga,
kasi
like, if I'm,
hindi
I'm
siya,
gonna base it on that, I only see Tulfo as the one capable of putting things together from
yeah.
independence, from obviously pro Marcos side and also opposition side.
Yeah, because Lenny is not appearing in any of the other camps except for the opposition. Um, Sarah is appearing in all, like Rafi Tulfo.
Right.
Right, no?
Right.
So quite competitive there. Yeah.
Wow. No, no, this is very important kasi conversion ang issue dito eh. And now, obviously, we can have a long qualitative and prospectus, parang about analysis about if BBM, let's say, rallies the machines and ano, baka naman they could go behind, I don't know, Eleni, Bam, Risa, whatever. But if I just look at these numbers on the surface, it looks like there's a very low conversion from pro Marcos to Pink and almost vice versa. But then again, that puts actually Tulfo in a very interesting situation, right? He seems to be the guy who can reach. I'm looking at the numbers of independents too. Tulfo is
Yes.
also number two there, right?
Yeah.
And Lenny,
Within the margin of error in
yeah,
independence, right? Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah.
So basically this survey, so what's fascinating is ang baba ni Tulfo sa survey niyo kumpara sa Okta, although you said, 'di ba, it's a range, it's a pendulum, but at least theoretically, he seems to be the guy who can put everyone together from every side. Again, we're freezing many other variables here.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
looking at this, it looks to me like Tulfo is the one, and that Lenny's gonna have a hard time getting people from the pro Marcos camp rallying behind her. Um, I'm sure this will change over time as Bam proves himself more and shows himself more. I don't know, but the fact that Bam
But
also doesn't pop up in the pro Duterte and pro Marcos side, that also tells you like what's going on here. Yeah.
and if you imagine, halimbawa lang, if in, 'di ba, kung ang electoral system natin ay rank preference, you can already imagine that Rafi Tulfo's numbers would be very competitive in there, right? Given na
Mamdani
magkakaroon
yan.
siya sa
Yeah, medyo
preferences ng
mamdani.
lahat, 'di ba? So kaya niyang lumaban dun sa Sarah preferences, for example, no? So yeah, I think yun yung isa sa ano dito takeaway. But also that Pro Marcos and makita mo din to dun sa 2025, Pro Marcos is actually uh, yung weakest yung cohesion ng faction. Um if you look at
Oh,
parang if you ask me the
taas ang
question
onshore
of
nila, no? 13% yung onshore nila.
yes, and if you ask me the question na, if you're a pro Marcos supporter nung May 2025, how likely are you to vote for the pro Marcos aligned or Marcos endorsed candidates, no? And the question is, well, close to zero. So it's not very statistically significant that you are likely, no? But for the pro Duterte and the opposition, at least may statistical significance. So pag pro Duterte ka, you're likely to vote for Duterte-aligned senators. Pag opposition ka, you're likely to vote for opposition senators. So mas may cohesion dito. Makita nyo naman dyan na 52% at least, no, very, very significant core sila dun sa opposition saying Lenny pa din yung preference nila. So, there.
Right. I mean, obviously we can also look at permutations, right? Because it's almost certain that not all of these people are gonna run, right? Although if that happens, that's gonna be a big surprise. But um, so
Chaos.
you can have permutations, right? Like if hindi na tatakbo si Tulfo, Santa transfer. Kung hindi tatakbo si Sara, Santa magta-transfer. I can clearly see Bongo moving also up very fast. So Bongo is the other one I can see also has a huge chance of bumping up once if Sara doesn't run, Bongo comes. But I can see a three-way race of Bongo, Tulfo, Lenny if Sara doesn't run, right? But then again, will Bongo be the one? Yung mga ganun. So that's why itago na lang natin sa pangalan na Tangerine Survey or Tangere.
No
Sila may
comment.
mga yan sila, di ba? Ano yung permutations niya? Kasi kami ni Ranjit, pinag-usapan namin, for instance, sa kanila, although he couldn't say the full thing kasi private commission yan, parang, I mean, Sara is a strong one. Risa Tulfo is a very strong one also for them. Interesting, very interesting. So, yun din, di ba? So, again, there are also permutations-based analysis just to tell people that there are different ways to approach this. Kasi baka sabihin nila, ayan na naman, Tulfonatic na naman si Darian. Ayan na naman si Darian, Torre,
Yun
Tulfo.
na ba? Yun na ba yung
Torre.
sinasabi sa'yo? Tool fanatic ka?
Yeah, Trillianatic, Trovonatic, Torrenatic, lahat ng letter T eh. Triple T, di ba? Tulfo, Torre, lahat, Trillanes. Lahat ng mga yan, kaibigan natin mga yan. Eh. No, but kidding aside, di ba? So, that's why I'm saying it's very helpful also to look at that. But now let's also look at the regional breakdown kasi mahalaga rin yan. We talked about that, yung identity politics merging with regionalistic politics and all of that.
So, and, uh, eto, parang ano din, no, yung by regional breakdown naman, no, para as if it's not complicated yet, no, let's complicate it more, no. Um, So you see here na in Metro Manila, Visayas, and Mindanao, and the rest of Luzon as well, you've got a sizable number for Sara Duterte. Pero may mga differences na in terms of the strength, no? Halimbawa, sa Metro Manila, it's a toss between Sara and Bongo, right? They and then of course Lenny
Wow.
has
So, Metro Manila is
uh,
yes.
lower and upper limit, but also Rafi Tulfo, parang ano pa, no? Ano pa sila dyan? Jumble-jumble, no? The same can be said for the rest of Luzon. And remember, most of the votes are in Metro Manila and the rest of Luzon. So dikit dyan si Sara and si Lenny, halimbawa, no? And then the next second would be Rafi Tulfo. In the Visayas, you've got a competition between Sara and Lenny. And then in Mindanao, you see ito dito, yun yung ano, no? Na-deliver. Ito yung sinasabi ko na if I just go back one slide, oops, no. Okay, yan. Um, Here, you see 31% and 13% Sara and Lenny, no? Um, kapag ka, hindi ko po sinasabi na alisin yung Mindanao, no? But for the purposes of looking at how it will
Yeah,
be,
yeah. Just to isolate
uh,
the data, yeah, yeah, data point.
yes. If you remove Mindanao, what will happen is that Sarah will be around 21% and Lenny will be around 19%. So then it becomes a very competitive toss up between the two, right?
Ganun
Kasi nga, if
kalakas
we go
yung
back naman
solid,
to the
solid South factor, yeah. Yun,
breakdown,
yeah.
yes, o yung South factor ni Sarah, 66%, no? So, and you see that no other area, no other region delivers that way. At least this early, no? Kasi sure ako naman na closer to the 28, some of these areas will mas magko-consolidate na sila to their specific candidate. But
So
the
just to be clear,
challenge,
so Mindanao is not the biggest voting bloc, but it has the highest
yes,
coherence, right? If I'm not
yes,
mistaken, depending on how we even count,
mga 20%, 23%.
yeah, and also depending on how we count, kunyari, for instance, Pangasinan ba kasama sa solid north or no, all? Parang mas malaki pa rin ang Mindanao yata, no? Parang it looks like solid south is stronger than solid north based on some numbers I've seen.
Yes, especially kung
Yeah.
coherence, no? So, pero dahil nga mas maliit naman talaga yung Mindanao, um, the chance of another Duterte presidency rests on um, making sure that they get votes from outside Mindanao as well.
Very, very
Pero
competitive. Bongo is very competitive in Metro Manila.
yes, no?
And he's also competitive in Visayas. I mean, at least he's there. He's well, not that yet, but if
Yeah.
Sara is out, she has 31%. I mean, the other lesson I can get from this, Bongo is very competitive. He also comes out very competitive in your surveys. Yeah.
Yes. And here, kung nakita natin kanina dun sa mga faction, parang hindi lumalabas si Lenny sa iba. Dito makikita mo, lumalabas siya, except lang sa Mindanao. So, may perspective then that um, she could, if she could travel and, she can travel. She shows up, no, in these different regions, no? Metro Manila, rest of Luzon, and the Visayas, no? Where the majority of the votes are. And then, also Raffy Tulfo, no? Yung difference ni Lenny and Raffy is that Raffy suddenly also appears in Mindanao, no, where Lenny is not present.
Yeah, very, very important. Yeah. Again, like, I'm just also giving people some idea about. Kaya it's so hard to say sinong viable talaga eh. 'Di ba? Like these numbers, the more we put variables, the more actually it gets confusing, right? The more it shows na napaka-fluid yung picture, 'di ba? Kaya I like these kinds of discussions because it just tells you, while it's not premature, nor I would say unreasonable to talk about sino dapat standard bearer, ganyan-ganyan, it is absolutely, I think, questionable and doubtful to say, ay, alam namin ito yung competitive or not. Nevertheless, it looks like Bongo has a pathway, Tulfo has a pathway. But then again, depends also who runs, who doesn't run. If Sara stays in, I just don't see a path for Bongo, right? If Sara moves out, then it scrambles the game, right? Becomes very competitive. If Lenny does not come into the race, that creates another dynamic. Does it go to Bam? Does it go to Risa? Right? So, I think what is clear, nevertheless, is how should I put it? Without some sort of alignment between other non-Duterte groups, it's hard to see how they can beat Sara though. If Sara's, I mean, even if she comes down to 25 or something like that, she's still very competitive. So some sort of alliance among the other groups has to be made. Again, it's not 100% conversion, right? But if you can get 70, 80 from one other side to bring other side, then win around half of the independents, something like that, then you can put together a coalition. So basically,
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
think
saying in short is you cannot beat Sara with 10 to 15 million votes. You need a bit more than that, to put it mildly. Yun lang. I'm just being honest. I'm just being brutally honest because I think some people are thinking if they just rerun the numbers of Lenny in 2022, this will be. I just don't see that in the numbers. It seems you need 20, 25, 30 million votes maybe this time around.
yeah, and I completely agree with that. And as we've seen here, we have to match, no, at least the other camps have to match the cohesion in the discipline of the Duterte faction. That they, and all the other groups will be sticking together, they have to vote for each other. Otherwise, no, you lose your power, no. And I think that's the best chance, no, against halimbawa a potential another Duterte presidency. I mean, looking at just the numbers and um the the sooner, no, I think the sooner that mag-consolidate yung other camps into a specific iteration, then also the sooner that the voters may be trained to consolidate as well. Kasi yun nga, you said that the conversion is not 100%, right? But that doesn't mean that it na now we will just let go of the conversion, di ba? That means only
Yun nga
that
eh, like
the
it's very
conversion is part
nuanced,
of the
exactly.
project, di ba?
So what I'm saying is, okay, having said everything I said about fluidity of this, I think nevertheless there are almost, if not iron laws, there's some bronze laws here, right? Which is there's no way to beat Sarah alone on her own on a one-to-one base if you're just gonna rely on your own core base. I just don't see that happening. So the number one thing that I'm seeing from all the
Mhm.
numbers that you cannot beat Sarah just with your pink base or your loyalist base. Period. It's number one. I just assuming Sarah stays in this race, right? And then the number two thing is conversion matters. So if you're going to be the unifying candidate, who has the highest conversion power, right? Can Tulfo get enough from the other side to solidify? Can Lenny get enough from the other side? So those will be the questions we have to ask, right? But the final question I want to ask you actually, and for our discussion, which kind of echoes our discussion, is okay. So let's talk about consolidation. For me, the number one rule in consolidation is avoiding conflict, right? Like
Mhm.
the number one rule is avoid fighting among each
Is
other.
that really coming from you, Richard Haydarian?
Whoa, I think you're not updated. August 1, 7 p.m. I've been the man of unification and consolidation. My time mark. Like, biglang, hey, Darian calling for. No, because I'm looking at all the numbers. I say, like, oh, no, like there's no chance. Like this is not gonna work, my friend. Like, no, and I also realized things are getting very toxic eh. Naging sobrang toxic na yung mga back and forths. So I felt, uh-oh, we might go down a very dangerous line here. So, ikaw, what is your read, Cleve? Like, what is the healthy, smart way for supporters of Riza, Lenny, Bang, whoever, all of these people who are thinking there should be the standard bearer of the pink? How do you think they should move forward?
Yeah, I think ano nga more and more I am taking the position of radical solidarity, and what that means to me is that radical solidarity is not only okay, we are moving as one and trying to move as one, but also having the patience to move as one. Kasi as we can see, we're not really a cohesive force, right? Um, and we come from different backgrounds, and our voters, our constituencies also come from different backgrounds, right? Kaya sorry, kaya moving forward as one and moving with them as one will take a lot of work and will take a lot of mistakes, right? So I think that patience to me with each other can be operationalized with the way that how we raise disagreements with each other, that to give each other a lengthy or very expansive benefit of the doubt, no? Um, kasi ano eh, there's an enemy out there, no? That we must dedicate our resources and, all of our, ano ba, attention to, no? In defeating that. So parang ganun lang, no? And because, yun nga, we need to build the numbers, and if ano eh, if you look at the story of those who made it this Senate elections, lalo na yung mga top senators, no? Bongo delivered the base plus nakatawid sa hindi nila base. Bam Aquino delivered the base plus nakatawid sa hindi nila.
But it's a Senate race, no? That's my
Yeah.
point eh. People forget, iba yung Senate race eh. Pwede ka makisuyo dyan. This one, you can only choose one. And I think
Okay.
the level of polarization will be different. Like the 2025 election was the safest election I've seen, which is the most incredible thing. I mean, the way the candidates minus, I don't know, Tolentino at the last moment.
Nothing has been said.
Right. The way they insulated it as if there's no all-out Cold War double level, right? As I have explained it. Like that was a political like really magic. I that one I really got wrong. That one I like wow, the way they insulated it. Although I'm sure that some people didn't want their TikTok accounts to go weird too, so they didn't say anything about West Philippines, you know. Okay, fine. Everyone played, but you cannot do that in 2028. It's just zero sum na siya. You just choose one presidential candidate, and I just don't see how this is not gonna be a bloodbath. Because if you're Duterte camp, you're gonna say, binudol tayo ng mga Marcos, nagsama ng mga Dilawan at saka mga loyalista, ito na yung time natin, di ba? If you're pink, ay wala kaming masabi diyan sa mga loyalista, pero talaga itong mga ang kalaban ka. Eh kung loyalista, hindi namin sinasabi na nag-team up kami sa, it's gonna be very different. It's absolutely different beast altogether. So, as I said, Bam and Bongo are there because they played the game very smartly from the center. But if they run for the presidency, it's going to be a different ball game too, right? So I just want to put that on out there because I think people are
Right.
also not appreciating that fact. Eh. It's going to be a different beast.
I think that's important to clarify what the landscape is, no? And that's part of I think yun din yung isa sa challenge nung consolidating or unifying the opposition, because there's may iba't ibang diagnosis of what the 2028 landscape will be. I know that some forces are expecting that it's going to be super fragmented, and because of that, it's just a battle between the biggest minority, right? If I have 22%, that might be enough kasi
Ramos.
Fragmented
That
naman
got
eh.
yeah, that got Ramos in.
Ah, so the Ramos model, yan ang expectation. And because that's your expectation, you behave differently towards allies, di ba? You probably are more arrogant and you probably don't really have the intention to unite with others because this is the model you expect. That's the diagnosis of 2028 landscape. And then, so there are many other diagnoses, but what I think is most important is to shape that landscape and not wait for it to turn it to whatever it is, no? I think the biggest mistake would be to just wait, magbangayan, and then magugulat na lang tayo that the landscape has been shaped for us rather than we've actively shaped it. Because, as early as now, if some forms of coalescing and like, moving as one and like bringing together numbers, that also forces the other camps to rethink what they will be doing, right? Oh, wag na si Sara kasi si Sara, yes, may baluarte pero polarizing. Baka si Bongo na lang kasi si Bongo kaya dali ng baluarte but kaya tumawid, no? So, uh, rather than, we just try to anticipate what they will do and we adjust to parang gano'n, no? But yeah, I think that the effort again to practice that radical solidarity. Hopefully, of course, easier said than done, di ba? Tao lang tayong lahat, no?
Yeah, but I think you have to really, isampal mo yung numbers, di ba? Parang coalitional politics is the only way. That is the only game in town. Unless you're Sara because you've already established a coalition. You have 10 years to build that. But for everyone else, it's basically coalitional politics. And then for Bongo, is hoping someone doesn't run, right? So for Bongo, it's a question of are you going to capture that coalition or not, right? You're second in line, right? For the rest, you have to build that coalition. 'Di ba? I just don't see it like so kaya if coalitional politics is the only game in town, you cannot afford the certain things, right? You cannot afford being purist. You cannot afford being exclusionary. You cannot afford being basically I would say like complacent na eto nang base ko, kaya ko na konting ano na lang pwede na yan. And hope is not policy nor strategy, right? Because let's just hope Sara will not it doesn't work. Having said that, let's end on a slightly more interesting note. Let's put on our political sociology hats. So with Vice Ganda showing up again in Showtime,
Interesting.
it is an interesting situation. I'll tell you my own reading on this, and I want to really get your read also because you can wear many hats on this issue, right? For me, the value of what Vice Ganda has done is parang she's normalizing, right? Making fun of some would have thought as too scary to assault back in the day or too I would say sacrosanct or like or you know what I'm saying like and the way she's also making all this nagka-comeback siya di ba? Even with Marcoleta even the next day reklamo di kayo like for me I think that's the value of what Vice Ganda is doing as a kind of a really super mainstream figure. But the second thing I would say is also the fact that she used to be a Duterte supporter. I think at least that's my read. And for her to come this far, that also shows that there's a kind of a kind of coordinates of redemptive politics imagination, if I can put it that way. Na, kaya nga sabi ko kay Cayetano, I'm sorry, I'm a public intellectual. Look at how I talk. I'm basically the Camus of Argentina. Just kidding. But before before I get bashed myself, sabi ko na iba, Richard, ito na nga yung chance mo para maging sympathetic character ka na, naging martyr ka na ng freedom of expression, tapos sisirayan mo na naman sa mga French Parisian intellectual balahura mo. Okay, let's end on the Vice Ganda note. So, Cleve, what is your read of this whole Vice Ganda episode? Am I overreading into this? I mean, what's going on there?
When it comes to Vice Ganda, I'm just really reminded of this long tradition in Philippine politics that the role of satire, parody in political criticism, 'di ba? Parang sorry. Ano pa 'to mga American colonial period pa hanggang sa at present, right? Na it hits the masa so well, it resonates with the masa. It pulse to ng masa. So ako when I see Vice Ganda and doing that, no, na ang naisip ko ay nararamdaman niya that also the pulses of the massa is shifting because one of the talents of a comedian is, di ba, parang alam mo na maglaland, yung maglaland. Kakagatin, maglaland. So, ibig sabihin, if you will, ang political reading ni Vice is that she can make fun of the Dutertes, right?
Yeah, she's a thermometer. She's a kind of like,
Di ba?
I think we
Uh,
have crossed the I mean the threshold whereby medyo fair game na sila. Like they're not untouchable. Is that what you're saying?
yes, yes. And napaka-important no na pwede na silang pagtawanan. Pwede na din silang kutsain, no? But also, because one of the criticisms, valid, invalid, empirical or otherwise, na mga anti-Duterte, mga ano lang yan, mga elitista and all, no? But you cannot say that Vice Ganda elitista, no? Ito ay, as a phenomenon, Vice Ganda is really a product of massa culture has been embraced by massa. So, magandang makita yung relationship na gano'n na nakakatawid siya ng sobra-sobra doon sa ganoong klaseng audience, no? And then that lastly, no, na I think, 'di ba, and lastly, na grabe yung pikon nila doon sa parang the way that they responded to Vice, no? Pikon na pikon sila, no?
Well, some would say complete lack of self-awareness, if not another instance of hypocrisy. Like, do you really want to go? Pakita tayo ng resibo. Alam mo yung joke ng ilabas ang resibo ng mga joke na sobrang offensive na ginawa ng kampo nyo, di ba?
Yeah, and nakakatawa kasi increasingly papakita na halimbawa si Baste, di ka naman pala, duduwag-duwag ka din naman pala.
Chicken man.
Oo. Tapos ito, talaga ba? A joke? You can't take a joke, di ba? Parang, I guess na, na re-reveal talaga yung emptiness nung Duterte politics uh, and how they have gone so far, no? From what they used to at least mobilize and represent, before, no? So, naisip ko na, di ba, parang panahon ni Pinoy, unfortunately, I think yung mga memes na pinagtatawanan siya, they were really influential in bringing down the public reputation of
Eh,
the Aquino.
BBM
So
too, di ba?
in
All
the,
these attacks on BBM. All this, I mean,
yeah,
same din, di ba? So, kasi ang power kasi ni Digong was, he was the jester himself eh. Di ba?
yes,
Digong could make fun of himself. Kaya ang lakas niya eh. Kaya nga nagkaroon siya ng Teflon effect. It's not because he's amazing. It's because he knows psychology, right? So, unahin na kita pare, bago mo ako yan eh. Pagtawanan ko na yung sarili ko, kaya nga nadi-disarm yung kalaban eh. Galing ni
yeah.
Digong eh. Di ba? So, it takes a vice ganda maybe to go against that. Kasi jester to jester na to eh. Di ba? Kung magagana
Oh,
labanan na ito ng jesting eh. Di ba?
'di ba ang Vicente Rafael, 'di ba, the sovereign trickster. Ano kayang tawag natin kay Vice, no? This is a good observation, no? Jester to jester. And maybe
Sovereign jester, yung isa sovereign tricks.
and maybe that really is the antidote, 'di ba? Um baka nga ano, no, baka that's the way to the hearts and minds of Filipino people, 'di ba? Humor again and to make fun of the Dutertes, 'di ba? After all that work with ERAP, that work with Pinoy as well, no? So it may be really something that would also work. So we need more. We need more of
No,
those.
I completely agree. You know, actually, that applies to Filipinos of all socioeconomic classes, yung power of humor. You don't know how many conyotic people I've met na who come and say, I love your discussion with X, Y, Z. And then biglang, pasend pa rin ng regards kay Ronald Llamas. Like, kahit mali yung analysis, kahit, you know what I'm saying? Like, wait, like after saying all, like, I appreciate your data-driven, ganyan, ganyan, and then biglang, uy, pero ano, hype muna kay Ronald Llamas. Or ganyan. See, yun ang power ni Ronald Llamas eh. Like, he uses humor, spontaneity. Doon mo makita yung power yun eh. It's very important in politics. And to be
And
honest, the last conversation I had with President Pinoy, I told him, I said, I felt your read of Philippine politics was too much Merkel than rather it should have been more Berlusconi, if not Macron, right? Or something like that. Because we're a Latin country. it doesn't work. What works in certain Scandinavian, social democratic, Germanic, Nordic, whatever, it doesn't work here eh. Kasi gusto ng tao, spontaneity, humor, self-deprecation, etc. It's a very different political culture. Kaya I always go back to political culture. Kaya I wanted to ask you. But I cannot end without also asking about Harry Roque because he is now a social phenomenon, right? What does Harry Roque's quote unquote interregnum Twilight Zone situation?
What I wanted to say as well is that Vice Ganda is making anti-Duterte politics cool. And to be cool, to be in the right vibe, to be good vibes is very important in politics, no? Uh, cool, 'di ba? She's making it cool again, no? And that's a really a big thing. So, if it used to be napaka-cool maging Duterte, kaya whether kaya hindi naman hindi naman na nag-a-apply ang reason because they didn't want a debate, 'di ba? Basta cool kami, mga DDS kami. So, if the reverse is happening that DDS hindi kayo cool, pikon talo kayo, you can't get jokes, duwag kayo, then you see a reversal, no? May mga ano na dito, no? May mga Gramsci
Yeah,
medyo
and that applies also to why Sarah is more vulnerable than her dad, right? Because she lacks also that spontaneity and all. And again, this has nothing to do with gender. I would say the same thing about Baste. But yung mga children niya, they lack that. Baka si Kitty, I don't know. Kitty seems a little bit more quote unquote cool, right? Although we can talk about what kind of cool. Ikaw yung nasa Lasal, so maybe you can tell me more about. But
di,
you know what I'm saying, right?
kala ko siya yung may kala ko bumisita sa Senado kasama sa
Yan na naman tayo.
joint session.
Baka meron bang indirect contempt din sa Senado? Baka maano tayo. Ang alam ko si Ronald Llamas, persona non grata sa Senado. Ayos siya ni Kilay.
Not
Talagang galit na
surprised.
galit. Oh, so, I
Yeah.
think, yun ang, he's unofficially unwelcome dyan. Ano. So, shoutout sa mga staff sa Senate, among others, na pinasok tayo, medyo spontaneously almost. Thanks sa mga kaibigan natin who got us through. May mga DDS na nagpipicture sa akin sa canteen ng Senado. Ang dami pala ang dami akong trolls pala eh. Oh my God. Parang nangyari dun sa Hague na pinipicture ako from Malaya. Andyan si ano, di ba? Alam mo na. All right, on that note, I hope, Cleve, I brought smiles and energy also to you. As you said, nga, good vibes is always beautiful, beautiful, di ba? I mean, it's good vibes is everything, right, Cleve?
Yes, and I hope that we've spoken of solidarity here. I hope you know that people like me, people like us are in complete solidarity with your fight against the contempt of court charges against you. We're here with you to I hope that you continue. Of course, you will continue to stand your ground, diba? For freedom of speech, academic freedom, no? So yun, no? I hope that this is the practice of that solidarity that we're talking about, no? One of us gets attacked, we should fight back all together. Yeah.
Oh, on that expression of support, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Cleve. I had to put on my the martyr of the cause, the fighter for freedom of expression kind of demeanor. Nakita mo yung picture namin yan, ang galing, no? Like,
I saw that. I saw that. Oh,
that's the Ilustrado signature. Yeah, but on that self-deprecating no, unahin ko na bago sabihin, ito na naman si Konyo, ito naman si unahin ko na kayo, don't worry. This is my Digong Konyo edition. Unahin ko bago niya akong pagtawanan. I'm gonna do it already. Ayun naman si Richard talking about himself and all of that. Anyway, Cliff, thank you so much for that, kapatid. That was really 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 amazing. I really enjoyed it. I know both of us are exhausted. Where people can already see that. But I think we did justice, right? To your hard work, data, and analysis. At sana
thank you.
maintindihan ng tao saan tayo galing when we say certain things. Hindi ay ito'y dahil mahal lang namin ito isang kandidato or hate. Now, may basihan naman, may siyensya naman po dito di ba? Hindi naman ito kwentong barbero. So thank you so much, Cliff, for another really informative, data-driven analysis and looking forward to doing more of that and looking forward to doing another version of yung tatlo tayo ni Dino that really
Yes.
public. That
Yeah.
was really good. That really resonated. Hindi nangyari yung
That
talaga,
works.
but that was kind of a simulation, right?
Yeah, that works. That works. I think we complement each other a lot.
And Cleve, last
Okay.
point is,
Maraming salamat, Richard.
are there things that you want people to check out? Where can they see your surveys, your data, your analytics, your works, both as an academic and also the CEO, president of a major survey agency in the country?
Yes, so we are releasing survey results by now, no? Every week in the WR Numero pages, no? Social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Do look for the WR Numero page. We always highlight the latest developments in the social political landscape of the country, no? And as I've mentioned, I'm working on a book with Dean Dulay. The book is on the Filipino voter. We want to finally synthesize all that we know about the Filipino voter so that, professionally as political scientists, we contribute to the scholarship, but also as Filipinos, we have something to read so that we can work together as we face our challenges, the challenges of our time, 2028 and beyond. Thank you.
And on your sideline of sartorial fashion, wala ka bang ano dyan? I mean, it helps with stress. People don't understand how much these things help us. If women have makeup, men have sartorial peacocking, right?
I'm just happy that I don't see Sal Panelo anymore on TV and in meetings. Medyo horrendous fashion choices.
Anti-fashion. Dadaist ang tawag
Kasi
doon.
ano eh,
Dadaism. Version ng fashion na Dadaism. Like, you invert all the rules of color and combination and
di ba? In the global fashion community, Filipino names are emerging, di ba? We are starting to be respected in that as well. Wag na muna, magtago-tago muna si Sal Panelo ba? Masira ang image natin.
But shout out to Heart Evangelista for putting us on the map. Sinasabi lang mga iba kaibigan. But yung mga billionaires around the world, kilala na siya sa sobrang yung mga nakakataas kilay ng kagandahan ng kanyang fashion and other accessories, right? So we'll keep it on that. No comment na lang ako beyond that. But no, I mean, Pia, Heart, more power to them. I don't know about their dynamics, but I'm glad that they're more and more Filipinos who are putting us on the map. And kudos to you also, Cliff, for putting the Filipino sartorial aesthetics and as an intellectual Parisian style. Let me also say thank you so much for
Thank you.
keeping the threshold a bit above Sal Panelo. All right. Thank you so much. God bless and have a lovely weekend. Salamat, brother.